McDonald's Quarter Pounders are causing a supersized problem for McDonald's. Shares of the burger chain are down 5.25% after the CDC revealed, this happened after the bell yesterday, that at least one person has died and 49 others sickened across 10 states due to an E. coli outbreak. The problem has been traced to the chain's Quarter Pounder burgers. The company said the outbreak might be linked to onions from one of its suppliers. But let's go live to Kelly Sabiri at the McDonald's headquarters in Chicago, where, Kelly, I understand they're now investigating the possibility it was the beef.
Yes, that's right, because the onions may have came in contact with the beef patties. And it brings up the question, how are they still selling their other beef products? As we know, their other sandwiches also have onions on them. So what's happening here? They say that the Quarter Pounder has specific meat and specific onions that correspond to it. So let's take a look at this map. It shows us where people have gotten sick. We're seeing cases in Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, and Wisconsin. And the CDC notes that the outbreak may go beyond these states. The patient who died, we're being told, is older. The CDC did not specify how old, and that they lived in Colorado. It's unclear if they had any underlying conditions. Another patient developed what they call hemolytic uremic syndrome, which is a serious condition that can cause kidney failure. In an interview this morning, McDonald's USA president said the Quarter Pounder has been removed from the menu in the areas affected. Still, like we mentioned earlier, the other beef products that include their cheeseburgers and hamburgers, as well as the Big Mac and McDouble, will still be available, as they apparently use a different onion product. McDonald's stock on pace for its worst day since COVID.
On a day like today, given the news we've had over the last 24 hours, that's really our focus. And we're confident that we'll see our way through this and we'll restore confidence for the American consumer to come to McDonald's.
The last time McDonald's saw an E. coli outbreak was just 2 years ago, when 6 kids had symptoms that were consistent with E. coli poisoning in Alabama after eating chicken McNuggets. 4 of those kids had to be hospitalized. Liz?
Very worrisome, Kelly. Thank you very much. So as McDonald's gets swamped by this crisis, how would one of the most successful names in business turn the tide at the American fast food franchise? Let's bring in O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, if you were running McDonald's, what is the first thing you would do?
100% total transparency. As soon as executives get the information, put it out there. That's the key. You need to maintain the trust between the consumer and the management, because this is an evolving story. It's not as, for this tragedy that somebody has died and other sick people, of course, but you think about Tylenol. It's a case study that many of us teach in various institutions, how well that company managed that by being totally transparent and maintaining trust and removing all the product from the shelf. It is a chestnut case in business schools. I'm here in Boston teaching at Harvard right now, so it's apropos. And, we actually talked about this situation this morning a little bit. McDonald's is a trusted brand in America. Right. Millions of people use it and trust it. And that's the thing that they've got to protect, is that trust. And I know they know that, and I'm sure they're doing it. But it's never holding back, because ultimately in these stories, everything gets out. Everything, whether it's leaked or it's disclosed intentionally. Every second of new information, get it out there.
I'm wondering if that's why a spokesperson came out today, it was on the wires, from the company, and said, we actually learned about this late last week. And yet the CDC announced it would investigate, and that was yesterday. It feels like maybe they were trying to find their sea legs through this nightmare, and that's not necessarily a great thing, is it?
No, it isn't. But if they're listening to us right now, Liz, this is paramount. Even if you sound stumbling, or even if you don't have all the pertinent information, get out what you have and explain, I'm going to keep talking to you until I know everything as it comes in. That is how you maintain trust in a family. And McDonald's has a family of Americans that go there to eat. That's what really this is.
And this reminds me, obviously, of Brian Nickel, who ran a Chipotle during a similar situation. Actually, it was even worse at Chipotle, but he turned that around. He now, of course, is at Starbucks, which today pulled its guidance for its outlook for 2025 because he's a brand new CEO and he had to put it out there that they had the steepest quarterly sales drop in 4 years. What about Starbucks? If you were running that operation or advising him, how do you get people to go back in there and love it as much as they used to?
I think you have to rejuvenate the experience. I mean, at the end of the day, they sell a commodity, and a very expensive commodity. It's coffee. I'm at the Starbucks 30 yards from outside of where I am right now. and it competes with a bagel store right beside it, and, it's twice the price for the coffee. But Starbucks has a certain je ne sais quoi, if I can call it that, and it's lost a little bit of that. And I think he knows that. And so to get these baristas animated again, I think it's a combination of new product cycle, but also maybe refurbishment of the stores. There's many different things you can do to all of a sudden get people back in there. I mean, I used to love the fact that digital ordering, I could actually do it on my phone and walk over and it would be waiting for me. And that even the novelty of that has worn off. So what's next?
They used to be known as the third place where people would go and hang out and bring their laptops and chill and have meetings. I think the first time I left the house after I had my daughter, because I was so freaked out. I was sitting in the house with my sister, said, just go to Starbucks, you'll feel better. Sit there for a while. It's not really like that anymore.
Everybody has high-speed internet now, Liz. That's not a new feature.
I know. Competition, exactly. Listen, I would love to just shift this conversation to the candidates right now for president. They are in the final stretch here, 2 weeks, and they're trying each, respectively, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, to land the undecideds that are out there. Can I get you to give advice to both of them? And you could start with Donald Trump.
Yeah, Trump is Trump. People know him. They've been listening to him for over, 7 years. They know exactly how he is. He's no filter. However, he comes across as being very authentic. 45% of people hate him in America. 45% of people love him, and so that 10% undecided in 43 counties is going to make this up. I think for Harris right now, and she's had a tough week. And by the way, in my family, we're a divided family. We've got Harris supporters at the dinner table and staunch Trump supporters, so we hash it out like every kitchen in America is right now. And in having this narrative with my daughter recently, I said, do you believe that Trump, and by the way, she's a Harris supporter, I said, do you believe Trump is authentic? I mean, you may not like him, and she said 100%. The guy has no filter. He just says whatever's on his mind. How about Harris? She had to admit, she processes too much. She's got to just spit it out there and say, and I thought the big miss, and we were having this discussion yesterday, when she on the Fox interview was asked about the border, and Brett did something unique that no one had done, is it put the timeline in about when these illegal aliens were brought into the country, not aliens, immigrants, and she, she could have said, yes, we made a mistake. I own it. And it won't happen again. But she didn't do that. And it was a huge miss because that thing is on her back, and somehow Trump has made it her issue, and it's not going to go away. She missed a huge opportunity. And, Mark Cuban and I worked together on Shark Tank for 14 years. You know where he stands on this. Sure. We discuss this, too. I mean, we talk about it all the time. And I just think for her to win right now, to get those, this is going to be won by less than 10,000 votes, is my guess. And I'll be there that night when it happens at 2 in the morning.
That's true.
Those 43 counties in 7 states. You got to get out there and get authentic. Like, be real, be honest, show the pain, show your mistakes. Stop trying to process it too much because it ain't working.
Well, there is a fine line between spending too much time processing and actually thinking before you speak. But I completely hear you. Part of Hillary Clinton's problem was she was too cagey and too, sort of thought, when she would just wait too long, and it didn't feel like it was, as you say, the authentic word. Kevin, it's great to see you. Thank you. It'll be exciting, and I know we'll talk between now and then, so we appreciate you coming on.
Take care.